What would you say to those who are just kind of overly critiquing the film at this point? You've worked so hard on it.
I'm getting on across. Hold on. Here. Yeah, hold on.
All right.
Doesn't need a prince to save her, and not surrounded by 7 weird people. Oh, okay, just CGI fictional goblins, I guess.
No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.
But you don't seemingly like your own character, so she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat.
Rachel Zegler is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged.
I don't think they're gonna buy it. I don't think they're gonna watch it. I don't think they're gonna like it.
Picture this. A red-eye flight lifting off from LAX, reporters scrambling on the tarmac, and a single name splashed across every gossip headline in the world. Rachel Zegler. Only months ago, she was Disney's next-gen princess, the fresh face meant to carry the studio's billion-dollar Snow White reboot. But tonight, she's racing toward Dubai, leaving behind a crater of bad press, a furious house of mouse, and a rumored $120 million bill. Buckle up, because this is the play-by-play of Hollywood's messiest disappearing act. It all starts with a fairy tale that should have written itself. Disney's original Snow White rescued the studio from bankruptcy in 1937, birthed a merchandising empire, and defined what happily ever after looked like for generations. Fast forward 8 decades, streaming wars are raging, theaters are half empty, and Disney bets big on nostalgia. They hire Academy Award buzz breakout Rachel Zegler, a Gen Z star with Broadway pipes and Spielberg on speed dial, to headline a live-action remake. The boardroom pitch is simple. Modernize the princess, ride the TikTok hype train, cash another billion. What could go wrong? First warning sign. Rachel doesn't just play Snow White, she rewrites her. On press junkets, she casually trashes the 1937 classic, nobody wants a movie about true love anymore, and doubles down that her Snow White will not be saved by any prince. Each soundbite detonates on social media, spinning endless stitches and reaction clips. Suddenly, the narrative shifts from Disney refreshing an old favorite to Disney scorches its own fairy tale. Traditional fans feel mocked, conservative pundits cry culture war, Twitter threads tally millions of views, and every new interview makes the fire hotter. Disney's PR team tries to douse the flames. Talking point memos, strict interview time limits, even a rumored executive babysitter shadowing Rachel. But the genie is out of the bottle. At D23, she sidesteps a softball question about the prince and pivots to climate change. During a glamour shoot, she jokes she deserves overtime pay for every hour the film streams. The clip alone clocks 10 million TikTok views. And not the flattering kind. The backlash morphs into brand damage. Box office projections nosedive. Internal chatter leaks. The remake might finish under $400 million worldwide, a catastrophic number for a film rumored to cost half that just to produce and market. Executives call emergency meetings. One insider quips that Snow White now looks less like a crown jewel and more like a poison apple. Yet the studio barrels ahead to release weekend, praying the outrage is only noise. Release weekend arrives, and it's worse than the doomsayers predicted. Friday night previews limp in at $6 million. Saturday stalls. By Sunday, Snow White's domestic haul barely clears $25 million, less than half of Maleficent's decade-old debut adjusting for inflation. Abroad, the numbers are uglier. Chinese theaters rake in less than $1 million. Analysts quickly peg potential losses between $200 million and $400 million. As the memes say, go woke, go broke becomes Wall Street shorthand for Disney's flop. Then comes the unforced fumble that sends everything over the edge. Minecraft. Warner Bros. Drops a family-friendly pixel adventure into the same release window, and it absolutely clobbers Snow White. 300 million global opening versus Disney's 77 million after 3 full weekends. Headlines scream, blocks beat the mouse. Parents drag kids to see creepers instead of poisoned apples. The comparison is humiliating and impossible to spin. Inside the Burbank fortress, blame games erupt. Financial analysts whisper that Disney might invoke the morals and promotion clause buried deep in Rachel's contract, a clause allowing the studio to slash bonuses or demand restitution if a star's behavior tangibly damages box office returns. The figure tossed around? Up to $120 million. Even if the number never sticks, leaking it to the trade sends a clear message. Someone must pay. Rachel's team goes silent. No Instagram stories, no red carpet rescues. Her publicist insists she's taking a brief wellness break. Internet sleuths disagree. They track a Gulfstream jet tail number, cross-reference hotel bookings, and post blurry paparazzi shots that appear to show Rachel stepping off a plane in Dubai. Overnight, the story mutates. Disney star flees country as studio seeks 9-figure clawback. True or hype, the optics are devastating. Meanwhile, Disney's cleanup operation is sputtering. Test screenings for upcoming live-action remakes get rushed focus groups. Marketing chiefs scrap edgy taglines and pivot back to magic of the original messaging. Rumors swirl of last-minute script rewrites to surgically remove any whiff of social commentary. The suits are terrified of a second Snow White scenario. Back on social media, fan sentiment toward Rachel curdles into open hostility. Her one attempt at damage control, an apology tweet heavy on legal phrasing and light on emotion, lands with a thud. Commenters overlay it with the corporate memo copy pasta, mocking each line. Influencers dissect the wording like a forensics class, concluding none of it sounds remotely like a 23-year-old actress. Memes of Snow White holding eviction notices trend for days. Behind the scenes, the personal toll mounts. Industry friends leak that Rachel is crushed, oscillating between rage at Disney's spin and panic over potential lawsuits. An emergency brainstorming Zoom, described by one insider as the saddest PowerPoint ever, spits out 3 options. 1. Launch a heartfelt, unfiltered YouTube sit-down. 2. Retreat for a year and hope Hollywood forgets. 3. Pivot to Broadway, where moviegoers hold less sway. None looks like a fairy tale ending. Yet the bigger casualty might be Disney itself. Shareholders grumble about strategic drift, Star Wars burnout, Marvel fatigue, and now Princess Poison. Executives who championed bold reimaginings find their future projects quietly shelved. One board member reportedly quips, "Leave the classics alone unless you can print money." The irony is brutal. Snow White once saved the studio. Its remake might be the cautionary tale that forces a complete course correction. So, where does this runaway story land? For Rachel Zegler, the opening scene of a glittering Disney future has flipped into a cliffhanger worthy of a streaming thriller. Can she stage a comeback? Absolutely. Hollywood loves a redemption arc as much as it loves tearing one down. But first, she must decide, own the backlash, apologize like a human, and maybe sign on to a string of humble indie roles. Or stay in self-imposed exile while lawsuits swirl and the internet moves on. For Disney, the lesson is sharper. Nostalgia prints money only when you respect the memories that minted it in the first place. Ignore that, and even a pixelated pickaxe can shatter the kingdom's golden crown. And for audiences, we're witnessing a real-time reminder that fandoms are no longer sleepy dwarfs mining gems in the background. They're the avalanche that can bury a billion-dollar empire overnight. If you're still here, you know this saga isn't closing the book anytime soon. Keep your alerts on, because whether it's a surprise settlement, a tell-all interview, or the studio's next panic-driven pivot, the next chapter is only a tweet, a leak, or a flight tracker ping away.